Well, pardon me, you think that's crook. The One Nation Senator from Queensland, Malcolm Roberts, introduced a motion, you're going to fall over about this, into the Senate yesterday to protect children from irreversible transgender surgery. It was in 4 parts, but the point 4 of the motion, after outlining the history, were on the latest available figures in America in 2016-17, the number of girls requesting gender reassignment rose 400%. The motion supported children with gender dysphoria be given what Senator Roberts called a wait-and-see method, because evidence shows between 70 to 90% of young people's dysphoria resolves itself by puberty. He argued that such children be offered a comprehensive therapeutic pathway, since a large percentage of the children have pre-existing mental health issues. His point was they require a therapeutic pathway, not a medical pathway. Senator Roberts asked that the Senate condemn the practice of children receiving experimental and unproven medical treatments of irreversible puberty blockers and sex hormone treatments, irreversible transgender surgery. You tell me anyone in the pubs tonight who wouldn't support such a motion. The government granted its senators a conscience vote. The Labor Party and the Greens, of course, they're mad, voted against the motion, but so did Senators Birmingham, Hume, Payne, Bragg and Colbeck from the Liberal Party of the Coalition. Malcolm Roberts joins me. Malcolm, thank you for your time. Well, as I say in a court of law, when you hear that, no questions. 5 Liberal senators, including ministers, crossed the floor to support Australian children accessing irreversible treatments and surgery.
Yes, and there was a 6th, Alan, Dean Smith from WA. So, you know, they're not really conservatives at all, are they? And they're not interested in protecting children. And that's what my motion was about, protecting kids, protecting our children, our country's future.
Yes. Are we serious? Are we letting children under 16 have double mastectomies?
Yes, and puberty blockers and other hormonal treatments that are irreversible and do enormous damage. And remember, Alan, an adolescent is going through a very, very crucial time for brain development. The brain is being rewired. It's called myelinization. It's natural. Teenagers tend to get confused or excitable. It's all natural. They come out of it and they're perfectly normal, good human beings. And that's a critical time for the formation of the human brain and the activities of the brain. And so they're being interfered with at a very, very important time, and they're being derailed. We know now there are possible problems, not possible, it's certain problems with cancers, with brain development, with behavioural disorders, and emotional disorders. And you know, the thing is... And
with all of that, Birmingham, Hume, Payne, Bragg, Smith think that sort of stuff is okay. I mean, Birmingham is the government leader in the Senate. He crosses the floor and votes with Labor and the Greens. Now, you just said there, I mean, adolescence is a very confusing time, not the time for our children to make irreversible, life-changing directions.
Well, what it shows, Alan, is that, first of all, these people are not interested in children, or they haven't got the courage to stand up for kids, because the real issue is, you'll notice the Greens, when they tried to counter my motion, they accused me of being transphobic. They accused anybody who supports this of being transphobic. And parents get an enormous shame put on them by being called transphobic if they don't stand up for their kids. They know their kids are going through something that's temporary and short-term, so they tend to hang back because they get transphobic slammed on them. And that's what the Greens do. They put labels on people, get them to shrink back from their responsibilities. Yeah. And I think a big part of what happened with those 6 people across the floor is they're afraid of being called transphobic when they're really children protectors.
Well, even if it were temporary, it may well be that, but at the same time, you're saying this shouldn't be happening to kids under the age of 16. But there's a further issue here, isn't it? Birmingham's a former federal education minister. Is that why the curriculum is full of this ideological rubbish?
That's a very, very good question and an astute observation, Alan. It raises serious questions about the credibility and the quality of the government's cabinet, in fact, and across many issues. Marise Payne is a former defence minister, now foreign affairs minister, and she is not protecting the #1 asset of our country, our kids and our future leaders. Well, Malcolm, that's who they're hurting.
Malcolm, I've got to say to our viewers, this bloke is very smart. Malcolm, where does this go from here?
Well, we've got to do further research. We've moved a motion and got it successful at the last minute. The Libs almost didn't do it, to remove this gender-biased language or gender-neutral language, which is really about dehumanising. Then we had a motion that succeeded with the national curriculum, and now we've got this one which failed. We will continue to restore and to highlight the values that our country believes in, and we will work on it. We'll work on it very hard, Alan.
Thank you, Malcolm. Look, I can't believe what you're telling me. Children under the age of 16 having double mastectomies. That's the Queensland Senator Malcolm Roberts. Very smart. Thank you for your time, Malcolm. But what do you, my viewers, think? Alan at skynews.com.au or the text line 0414 000 848.